Hey you guys, got some more BG footage, this time with JohnnyWalk, and then one fight against Cyprus afterward, just because I saw Cyprus there, and I hadn't fought him in a while. I feel like I haven't fought Johnny either, but he PM'd me on Facebook, and he was like, oh, do you want to go do a fight in BG? And I was like, sure. And of course, when anybody, messages you wanting a fight, especially somebody who I've, fought a lot before against Johnny, and I probably have the better record between the two of us previously, I knew he must have had something up his sleeve, because you don't just like say, hey, I want to fight you just because you want to lose, or at least most people don't. So anyway, I was prepared for maybe not the worst, but I was prepared to at least see Johnny pretty strong here, and he definitely has a lot of dark resistance. So my last BG video, most of the fights were against Smartass, and she had close to 1500 resistance, something like 1479, and Johnny has just a bit less than that. He has 1411 in this video, and I'm still sitting just below 1000. So I'm definitely at a huge res disadvantage, and Johnny does have less BR than I do, so his natural stats are lower than mine, but it's less of a gap than myself and Smartass. So neither of us have any pots on right now, but his resistance is right about maybe like 450 ahead of mine. No, a little less than that. Let's say like 420 dark res more than myself. And it seems silly at this point to try and use different sylphs and stuff. Obviously the point of it was to see us both with our best sylphs. So I went ahead with that, and here I'm still doing all right. I'm not critting too well lately. I do need to raise my crit stat. I'm starting to notice that. I just haven't really done anything about it because I haven't really wanted to give up anything for a crit. I'm at the point where I might have to give up one of my gems and put in a pure crit stat gem, which makes me really, really sad inside. So Johnny stays in sylph mode a little long, and I think that's actually a good position for me to be in, because I'll get into sylph mode, back into sylph mode sooner than he does, and hopefully deal a good bit of damage. That said, I'm really just not doing much at all to him. He's not taking a lot of damage in class mode or in sylph mode, so not a good position for me to be in. Probably just trying to make it to a restore or a heal rune, and he's getting me with that armor pierce, which is not good for me. Get a little desperate, go with the guardian rune and then a restore. Guardian and the restore is like the ultimate mage, I guess. I need to get out of a really bad situation. So guardian, restore, guardian, and blessed light. Still, Johnny seems to be staying out of this, out of sylph mode for a little too long in this fight, and I think he notices. He probably knows that was a mistake, because I don't think he did that in the two fights afterward. I don't think he dawdled in sylph mode. Here he tries to get to a stun. My influence is really pretty good right now. It's almost at level 20. It's at level 19, and so I mean that's about as competitive as level 20. So just not getting stunned as much anymore. Still possible, but it's usually only for one turn. So I've been really liking that. In BG, I don't bring Ice Bolt for the most part because you have the troops there, and it's just annoying to me. So I just go ahead and bring Meteor instead. Meteoric Destroyer. But it was a nice fight, but I think Johnny just slipped up a little bit. He definitely has the advantage as far as resistance and reduce res, so I think some small adjustments and he'll be fine. So second fight, and pretty standard. I don't think either of us adjusted. I think we just adjusted how we played, especially on Johnny's part. I think his spec is sort of pretty standard nowadays. It doesn't bring. I don't think he brings multi-shot, which used to be just a staple in all the archer skill sets, but he must have arrow shot, armor pierce, the stun, which the name is failing me, Lunatic Fire, and Bloodthirsty. So, seems like a pretty solid build. I think I probably would have brought Incendiary Shot somewhere in there. Well, he might have brought it in one of the later fights. Pretty typical is go with the Dust Harvest if the kids are still alive. Try and take them out, because if they, if the kids are around too long, they just end up having an unnecessary amount of influence on the fight. So I think most people just like to take them out of the picture, even though they aren't necessarily super important. But an extra, throwing a Centauria there can make a big difference, that type of thing. We have a new patch coming up, and there'll be another Mage U-Demon, so another magical U-Demon. So at least it evens out a bit, too magical to physical. It's definitely a very different type of magical support. The Oracles are mostly heals. The point of getting an Oracle is so you have heal support, particularly for the physical classes. It's a huge help. So you have the Centauria, Blessed Light, Restore, that type of stuff, and then kind of secondary are the attacks, which most people probably only bring 1 or 2, especially for the PvP, and so that's those. So basically, the Oracle's main role is as a white mage, but the Scourge Mage, which is the new one that's coming out, looks very aggressive. It's all about crit bonuses, adding to crit rate or damage dealt, and it's very much so an aggressive support. So it doesn't look that appealing to me. I don't know. It doesn't, it doesn't seem like a U-Demon that I'm going to build up, but never know. In Sylph mode, and he almost gets an Awe out, which could have stopped me getting into Sylph mode for a turn, but I managed to get in there pretty fast. Most of the heals other than Blessed Light are very quick, so, well, even Fury is very fast. Centauria, Restore, so you can pretty much get in any of those heals plus an Awaken before your opponent goes. But here I'm just in so much trouble. Don't get my Guardian Rune in time. Terrible. and Johnny's just dealing so much damage right now. We're in the 150% bonus damage. So he's dealing a ton, and I'm just not dealing nearly enough when he has so much resistance. So really, the opportunity to beat him was when he was out of Sylph mode, like the first fight. So there was a glimpse at his stats, but I do show them at the end along with Cyprus's. So that's in the rankings, though. So here's our tiebreaker fight. We're 1-1. I'm not sure if Damnation is really the best choice for my Oracle. I've been trying it, and I guess conceptually it just seems better to bring something that, helps me deal more damage than, say, bring a Rain of Fire. But then in practice, I just don't think that Damnation is that big of a deal. So I don't know if I'm going to keep that in this bag. Still kind of trying things out, trying to figure out what's going to be best for class wars and what's best in general. Titan War is pretty straightforward. I think it's better just to have a bunch of heals and, have a chance to do a Blessed Light. Those types of things are helpful. Seems like his kid must have a lot of dark resistance as well. My Dust Harvest only did away with like half of his health. Half of the Yude's health anyway. Johnny's timing with the Guardian Room seems pretty solid. I think in the past it probably wasn't even that good. I feel like he, even, dark resistance aside, the fact that he has more of it is a huge help to him, but even so, he seems to be playing pretty well compared to previous fights I've had with him. And I am in trouble. He's probably going to do at least one more attack after this in Sylph mode. Get my Centauria on, and of course, well, the moment that I see I'm taking a lot of damage and I have a Centauria on and I don't have any other heals other than the rune, I want to start using as many turns as possible. So doing short attacks, you know, I'm not spending a lot of time on something like Thunder is probably the plan. And I want to see, you know, now would be a good time to use that heal rune, but before I was only at about 1/3 of my health gone. So now I can get out something a little bit more aggressive. I need to get into Sylph mode quickly though, because Johnny's still out of Sylph mode and I want to deal as much damage as possible. So I probably should have just gone immediately and tried to get a couple hits in, but I guess I wanted to fill up on health. I think either way I'm still at a huge disadvantage because of Johnny's dark resistance. And Ray was in there too, but I forget if she was on my team or not. It's been a while since I've had a fight with Ray outside of Class Wars. Next time I see her in BG, I'll see if she wants to fight. So what Johnny did is totally acceptable. If you want to find me on Facebook, you can go facebook.com/IliaNerdyPanda and go ahead and friend me on there and message anybody who wants to fight me. I'll try and be able to match up with you in a BG. If I have the time, I'll always do it. But there I go, Johnny beating me in Sylph mode. So he did a really nice job here. And so with the dark resistance advantage, it is big. That's definitely what his trump card was. And I knew just from him messaging me, I knew he must have, I was suspecting that the big thing would be his dark resistance. But he still did a really nice job. And then I got one fight against Cyprus. You know, my fights with Johnny were going so long, they were very competitive ones, and so of course those go a while. But I did want to get these fights in with Cyprus, or at least one. I got in another one, but we didn't quite finish it. I think he probably would have won that, honestly. But here I'm at a disadvantage on pretty much all fronts against Cyprus. So it's really his fight to lose. As far as that goes, but I still put up a good fight. You know, I think I deal quite a bit of magical damage, so in class mode I didn't feel at a big disadvantage, but once we go into Sylph mode, I think it really shows. Cyprus only has maybe 100 or so. He's at like 1100 something dark resistance, so a little bit more than myself, but nothing super outrageous. So I don't think that was a problem. I think the biggest gap was he might have a little bit more HP than I do, and a lot more physical defense. A lot. He's a knight. He has, you know, probably close to 190,000 physical defense, and mine in this video I think was, you know, a little under 150k or something like that. So he has a big advantage there, and so when we're both using physical pets, it's really a disadvantage for me. You know, I think before, when all the top players pretty much had one of all of the 6 sylphs with, so each element, and they're pretty much all orange. Everybody had probably at least 4 out of the 6, if not all of them, out of the top players. And so you could kind of try and work around things with resistances and, you know, try different sylphs more easily. But now, I mean, everybody has one dominant pet. It's usually dark, if not light, maybe electro, maybe fire. And so it makes it a lot less interesting as far as matchups. You know, if you decide that you're going to go with a certain pet, there are just people who are your natural enemies. So for me, of course, a knight with a dark pet is just naturally going to really suck for me. But even so, I'm always willing to put up a good fight. So in big trouble here. I need to get that Guardian rune out, and I do. Obviously trying to get to that restore, but I think it's going to be a slightly futile effort. Oh, I actually make it. So no crit heal. That would have been a great moment for a crit heal. So actually looking pretty good here. Need to break through that bubble. Oof, big crit. So he gets his heal rune in, and that's pretty much the end of the story for me. Maybe if I could have snuck in a couple of double hits when he was getting really low before that heal rune, could have stolen a win from him. But in general, I think he was at a big enough advantage that there's not much I could do about it. So you can look at Cyprus's stats. He's at 2,071,000. And his physical attack is actually lower than mine, but then there's that physical defense, 182k. I think that's actually a little bit low. I don't know if this is with astrals or not. It depends on whether he's online when this was recorded. But big time HP, 1.1 million. We can go and get Johnny. He's on the next page. Johnny at 1.87 million, so still pretty competitive. Physical defense actually only a little bit better than mine. MDef much lower, of course, and HP and attack are pretty comparable. Actually, his physical attack is lower than my magical attack. So he has these big dark crystals, level 9s. He said his dark resistance was up to 1400, but there it showed only like 1000 something. So maybe he just finished a big dimension or something like that before we fought. So, so big thanks to my friends for doing the fights with me, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care and have a very good day.